Are you struggling to figure out the best price for your eBay listing? Whether you're a seasoned seller or you're just starting out, figuring out the best price for your item on eBay can make or break your eBay sales. In this video, I'm going to answer some of the most common questions that come up when trying to figure out prices for eBay. And I'll also share some essential tips that you need to be thinking about when you're pricing your items for eBay. Some of the questions I'll answer are, how do I determine the right price for my item? What do I do if I can't find the item I'm looking for? How do I price it then? What is sell-through rate and does it matter? Should I use buy it now or auction format for my listings? Should I offer free shipping? What is best offer and should I use it? Will offering discounts and promotions help me sell my items faster? What do I do if my item just isn't selling? How often should I review my prices and my listings? One of the first things you need to decide when you become an eBay seller is what kind of seller you want to be. Are you going to focus on selling things that are going to sell as quickly as possible? Do you mind having items that sit for a little longer because you're willing to wait for the right price? Or are you like me where you like to have a mix of both? You don't mind things sitting a little longer and you don't mind things selling quickly. So it's nice to have a balance. It's important to know this when you're going into picking up things to resell because it's going to impact how quickly your things sell and what kinds of things you're going to pick up to sell. So how do you determine the right price to put on your item? We're going to take a look at one of the items that I recently listed and it sold the day I listed it. And I want to talk to you about how I determine the price for this item. I bought this item. It's a Wii Sports disc and it's disc only. The first thing you're going to do to figure out what to price your item at is to search the item. The first thing I'll do is I'm going to put in Wii Sport disc only. I notice that there's over 7,000 results here, and some of them are not quite what I was looking for, like this crazy golf game, and there's some other games in here. What I want to make sure I do is narrow it down as far as possible, so I'm also going to put 2006. The more information you can put in the search bar, the more narrowed focus you're going to get to be able to determine the best price. You'll notice now that the results are 321 results for Wii Sports disc only. And as I look here, I can see that this looks a lot more like the kind of disc I have. Important thing to note here is I'm not going to use this page to determine my price. I'm going to go and look at the sold and completed listings. The way you're going to find that is you're going to look over on the left-hand sidebar. There's all of these little check boxes and you're going to scroll down, down, down all the way to sold. When I select sold, now I see that there's 2,000 sold for this listing. And again, it does look pretty accurate for what I've got. We're going to talk more about sell-through rate in just a little bit, but the fact that there are more sold than there are listed is a very good sign that this is something that's going to sell pretty quickly. It's important to note here that these are going to be sorted by ended recently. If you're wanting to sort it by something else, you'll come up to this bar here and you can sort it by the shipping and the highest price or the newly listed one, how fast did it sell, etc., etc. But this works for us for now, ended recently. What I'm looking at now is the price that it's sold for. And I also want to consider, did they charge shipping? So how many of these listings charged shipping versus were free shipping? I am discounting this one immediately because I see $228, but there were 12 different games that they were selling. That is out the window for us. I see here $15, $24, $19. When it's got a line crossed through it like this, it means that the seller accepted an offer. That means the buyer sent them an offer and said, will you take less? Another one I want to point out here is that this one sold on auction. You'll see underneath it 8 bids. That means that they put it up on auction. As you notice, most of these were done buy it now, buy it now. There is a way if you wanted to see how many were sold buy it now versus by auction. If you come over to the sidebar, and you look at buying format, you'll see 50 of them sold on auction and over 2,000 of them sold buy it now. When you're looking at it in that way, you'll know, okay, I should probably list this as a buy it now. Back to figuring out the price, I'm noticing that they're all in that $25 to $30 range. What I have to figure out now is if I'm doing free shipping or not, and if I'm doing free shipping, to make sure that I've added on enough to cover the shipping into my price, because free shipping isn't free for the seller. You still have to pay for the shipping. I listed my item for $22.99. I did have best offer on my listing, and I also had free shipping because I was trying out free shipping to see if it was going to increase my sales. I feel like this would have sold one way or the other, with or without free shipping. I ended up taking an offer of $19.99 on this item. I could have waited, but the reason I decided to go ahead and take the offer is because this buyer bought 3 other games from me at the same time, and one was at $19.99 and one was about $30. So I knew if I took the best offer on these, I would still have enough to cover the shipping, because all 3 of them, I had folded in the shipping price into my listing. This one is pretty cut and dry. It shows that most of these listings sold for in the $20 to $30 range, depending on free shipping or not free shipping. So that makes it pretty clear on that one. Sometimes it's not always so easy. I picked up these Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory Hallmark Itty Bitty plush at a garage sale. I paid about $1 for them, and I was pretty excited to start getting them listed. However, when I went in and I typed in the exact title of what it is, Hallmark Itty Bitties Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I see no matches found. So this is what you do if you cannot find the item that you're looking for. I scroll through, I don't see any of them in the active listings. And so I think, okay, let me check sold listings. Maybe there are some sold. They're so popular, maybe they sell that fast. When I select sold, once again, no exact matches found. I scroll through and I don't see any. So now what do I do? At this point, I'm going to take that title that I typed in and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it into a Google search. And then I can click shopping. Once I've typed it into my Google search, there's 2 things, well, technically 3 things that I look for. One, I look just at the all tab right here, all, and I can see, hang on, wait a minute, this is eBay. So I'm going to open this in a new tab. This one also says eBay. What's going on here? The second thing that I look at are images. This usually helps me with more vintage items, but again, I see eBay in stock. I see eBay in stock. Well, hang on a minute, eBay out of stock. Another thing that this does is, say you don't see any for eBay, you might see some that are on Poshmark or other platforms, and that can also point you in the right direction for what to price it at. And then finally, I like to look at the shopping, because that will also pull up other listings, whether they're on eBay or on other platforms like Mercari or Etsy or Poshmark. The tabs I opened up, first one, error, not found, but I do see 2 of them right down here. We'll come back to that. I think one of these other tabs might be it. Here we go. Here's another listing for the same item, and it is on eBay. So here's the question. Why didn't this show up when I searched for it? I honestly like it when this happens, because I know that the reason it didn't show up is because my title, let me put that back in here, that I typed in was Hallmark Itty Bitties, which they've got, Willy Wonka, which they've got that whole first part. But the part that I typed in that they didn't was and the Chocolate Factory. You see in the title here, there's no and the Chocolate Factory. This is a choice that the seller is making because there's only so many characters for the title. Now, Hallmark Itty Bitties Willy Wonka Collector Set 4-piece Will Charlie Violet Oompa Loompa new in box, because they chose not to put and the Chocolate Factory in their title, it didn't show up for my search. Now, if I choose, when I list my item, to include all of this, Hallmark Itty Bitties Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, then when someone searches that, it will show up. What I would probably do, and I'm not picking on this person, I'm giving you tips, is that instead of saying collector set 4 pieces or new in box, I would use those characters to include in the chocolate factory because that's what's on the picture. I could still include Will, Charlie, Violet, Oompa. It would probably all fit. But if it doesn't, then that's something that I would make sure to include in my description, which they do. The only thing they don't include is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So that's a tip if you're looking for something and you can't find it. This one was there, but it just couldn't be found in my search. Next up, let's talk sell-through rate. What is sell-through rate and why does it matter? I do not always go off of sell-through rate. Sometimes the items that I buy, I know are going to take longer to sell. Sometimes it doesn't matter to me. But if you're interested, just like with the Wii Sports, knowing that sell-through rate can really help when you're trying to decide whether or not to pick up an item if you're wanting it to sell quickly. I chose to look up a book, Peace is Every Step. This has 139 results for items that are currently listed. Then I want to look at sold listings. There are 61 sold listings for this title. The way to figure out sell-through rate is to come to the calculator. I will do 61 divided by 139, and that gives me this number. But if you multiply it by 100, that will give you the percentage. So 43.8% sell-through rate, which I think is pretty good. The way to figure this out without having to pull out a calculator is to look at the number that are up for sale. And then when you look at the number of solds, you want the number of solds to be as close to or higher than the number of ones that are up for sale. So if I saw there were 139 up for sale, but only one sold, that wouldn't be that great. If I saw 139 up for sale and there were 200 sold, that means that there are more sold than there are listed, which is fantastic. How do you decide if you should list your item as a buy it now or as an auction item? My strategy when I decide on buy it now or auction varies from a lot of other sellers. I will put things on auction if they have a high demand and a high collectability rate. I had some really valuable Star Wars ships and things. They were old. They were original from the 80s, and those were ones that I put on auction because I knew there was a high value, which I didn't know because the prices were kind of all over the place based on condition and missing pieces, and I didn't know what I should actually price it at, and I knew that it was very highly sought after. So that was something I was comfortable putting on auction. Something to note when you're putting items on auction is that when you list it, put that lowest price at whatever you're comfortable getting. If you started at 99 cents, unless you've got a big following, then it might not sell, or you might sell it for 99 cents. And then you've got to ship it out and all that. So I know a lot of other sellers do have a lot of their items on auction, and it works for them. I think partially when you've built that reputation as a shop that does these great auctions, and then you have low starts, and you've built that into your store and into your brand, then it can really work for you. But it really just depends on your strategy for listing, selling, and so on. Another thing to consider is when we were looking at the Wii Sports, we were looking at how many of them sold on auction. And if I were looking and I saw that most of them were sold by auction versus buy it now, that might be something I took a second look at when I decided to list my item. It's something to consider if auction or buy it now is something that really is something you're considering. Almost always I have my listings up as a buy it now. How about free shipping? This could be a whole other video, but deciding on free shipping is something else that I tried free shipping when I very first started reselling, and I really wish I hadn't, because I was already losing money on shipping because I wasn't very proficient at calculating the shipping rates and calculating the price. And so when I was doing free shipping early on and I would take a best offer, not only would it eat into the profit for my item, but sometimes I would forget to calculate how much it would cost to ship the item. And I would not only lose money on the shipping, but I would lose money on the sale of the item as well. If you're going to offer free shipping, take it slow. I've restarted it now on some of my items just to see if it would help boost my sales. I've only been doing items that are going to go, it's not first class anymore, it's called ground advantage, when they're a pound or less. So I know it's going to cost about $6 to $9 to ship the item. And then same thing, when you're looking at the solds, that's another thing that you can look at, delivery options, free shipping versus local pickup. You can look and see, did most of these people choose free shipping, or did most of these choose buyer paid shipping? So 903 were sold as free shipping, and then about 2,000 or more, so more than half, so it's about 50-50, it seems like. More than half were buyer paid shipping. So on this one, it's anybody's choice, I guess. Dealer's choice. Next, should you have best offer on your items? What is best offer? Let's talk about that first. I do put best offer on my items. What that means is when you're looking at a listing, you'll see their price and then it'll say or best offer, right? Under here where it says or best offer, that means that the buyer sent me an offer for the item and I could choose to accept it or decline it. I know that a lot of sellers do not like this because they don't like getting these lowball offers sent to them. It doesn't bother me. And the reason it doesn't bother me is sometimes people like to see if they can get a good deal. And they might send a lowball offer, which is ridiculous, but I don't let it get me upset. I just send them back an offer that I'm comfortable with. And if they continue to send me like $3, $2, I just decline the sale. I just click decline and that's the end of that. There is a way, however, if you're wanting to try best offer but not get bombarded with like lowball offers, there is a way to set that up in your listing. And we're going to take a look at this listing that I have right here. So to find the section for best offer and how to set up the automatic decline or automatic accept, let's scroll down to best offer. You are going to find that just under pricing. So here under pricing, you'll see allow offers and you'll see mine is selected on. If I really didn't want anyone to send me an offer under $20, then that's what I could put right here. So if somebody sent me an offer for $19.99, that would get rejected immediately. And if I wanted to automatically accept an offer, okay, if anybody sends me an offer more than $20, then it would automatically accept. I wouldn't get the ping pong back and forth about accepting the offer, declining the offer, counter offer, blah, blah, blah. That is a way to set that up in your listing already. Let's talk about discounts and promotions. I could do a whole separate video on setting up sales in your store. You can set up a sale for one category in your store, say just jewelry, or you can do free shipping on certain items. There's a way to do that, which again is a whole separate video. Usually I have some kind of sale running in my store. I'm not sure I have that set up now that I've restarted everything, but I'll have to go back and look at it. But one thing I have started doing is promoted listings, and I'm going to scroll down and show you where that is. It's all the way at the bottom. When you get down to the bottom, you'll see promoted listings, and right here you can click to select it on. I have been putting mine at 2%, which I believe is the lowest. Yeah, 2% is the minimum. So what does this mean? If you choose to have a listing ad for your item, then your item will show up a little bit higher in search than other people's items. Then when your item sells, you'll be giving eBay 2% more in fees. What do you do if your item just isn't selling? I have this belt that I've probably had up for over 2 years and it has not sold. I need to come back through. Probably should do this more frequently. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's take a look at why I think this belt hasn't sold. One of the most obvious things to look at are the photographs. So how do your pictures look? Is it a good representation of the item? And on mine, I really think it is. But one thing I noticed when I came back to look at this listing is that it is a belt buckle, right? But I have a belt buckle at the very end of my listing, and that needs to change. Belt buckle is one of the most important things that this thing is. So I need to make sure belt buckle is a lot closer to the front of my listing. When I come in, Art Nouveau, Republique Française, Mariana France Nurse belt buckle. I'm going to select Nurse belt buckle because this is the style of what this is. And I'm going to put it after, say, Art Nouveau. Maybe I should put it after antique. So it's the first 4 words. Antique, nurse belt buckle, Art Nouveau. And I see France there at the end too. How many characters do I have left? Marianne. I'm going to put France a little earlier in it too. So I'm taking out the word of, and I'm going to put France here. So the part that's actually in French that most people probably aren't going to be searching for is going to be towards the end. Marianne, who is well, let's forget the history lesson. I'll put that up a little closer too. So tweaking my title just a little bit. Another thing I want to take a look at is, do I have it categorized right? Yes, I do. And then, do I have the listing promoted? Okay, that I do as well. And then another thing to look at is, do I have it priced right? Here we go. I have it priced at $114.99. When I look at other listings that are similar, I see one that's up for $39, but it looks like it got ran over. And then I see another one that's up for $95. All right, so let's look at sold. I don't see any of them that are like mine that are sold. Here's another interlocking belt buckle. Here's another nurse's belt buckle that sold for $150. However, that one was sterling silver. So when I think about this, mine is priced higher than the sterling silver, but mine is French and mine has got Marianne. Does it matter? I don't know. Here's another one that sold for $22. At this point, you have to ask yourself, do I want to sell this item or do I want to continue waiting for the higher price? And I think I'm ready to sell this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go in and lower the price because I think I probably got this for $4 or so, maybe $5 at a garage sale. So I'm going to come back over here, and I don't mind that mine's going to be a little bit lower than the other one that's 90 something dollars, but I'm going to go ahead and put mine at $74.99. While it's really cool and unique and in great shape, I've had it for a really long time and I would love for it to find a new home. Next question is, how often should I review my listings to figure out if I have it priced right? I would say if your item isn't selling, then you can choose maybe quarterly or every 6 months. I'm probably going to start this every 6 months. And if I've had things in my shop that have just been sitting there for a really long time, I can make that call at that point. Is this something I want to lower the price on? Is this something where my photograph, or say my listing, I forgot the keyword sunglasses, let's say, and I just had white glasses and not sunglasses, or something along those lines where I'm missing a really important keyword. Going in and checking all your listings once every quarter, every 6 months, and deciding, is this something I want to keep or is this something I want to blow out? You could do it a few different ways. You can lower the price, you can create a sale on certain items, or you can just tweak them and keep letting them ride. A few of these topics I am going to make separate videos to go a little more in depth on. I know I skimmed the surface on some of these, but I wanted to give you a great jumping off point to start getting your items listed on eBay. If you've enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe to the channel and leave a comment letting me know that you were here. And I appreciate you watching, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Bye, everybody.